Canada's top court has ruled that federal prison tests are failing Indigenous prisoners. And in fact, the risk assessment tools used to determine a person's safety risk may discriminate against Indigenous inmates. The Supreme Court decision means the Correctional Service of Canada will have to make some changes. Senator Kim Pate is a longtime advocate for women in prison. She joins us in Ottawa. Welcome, Senator Pate. Thank you so much for joining us. So first off, what are these assessment tools and how do they not work for Indigenous inmates?
The assessment tools that the Supreme Court of Canada has declared discriminatory are tools that are basically used to assess risk of prisoners. They were tools that were developed really by and for white men, and so not a big surprise they don't work well for Indigenous prisoners, nor for women, nor for those with disabling mental health issues. But what the Supreme Court of Canada stopped short of saying is that they discriminate on the basis of those grounds, even though the adverse impact is clear and they accepted that evidence. And they basically left it to the Correctional Service of Canada to correct this issue. Now, if it was an issue they didn't know about before, we might think that's okay, they can fix it. But in fact, the Correctional Service of Canada has known this is an issue for at least 20, closer to 30 years, and have not yet corrected it. In fact, they keep saying they've corrected it and that the problem isn't the tools, the problem is who comes into the prison system. But the reality is the tools then limit who gets access to programs, what security level you have, whether you get out into the community in a supervised way. So they're something that the entire country should be concerned about, are not effective and not working for Indigenous people.
So as a result of this ruling, where do we go next? What's the next step that needs to be taken then?
Well, I think the next step is the Correctional Service of Canada could do what Dr. Moira Law suggested they do, particularly for women. She suggested that you start all women off at low security because we know they tend not to pose a risk to public safety by and large as a group, and that only when you see issues that require security interventions should you use them. And that then will assist them in both being able to be in the community in a more effective way, in a structured way earlier. And that will actually contribute to public safety and cut the human costs, social costs, and the financial cost of prisons and reduce the numbers in the way that the government has pledged to do. So that's what we need to see. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen in what actions the government takes as a result of this ruling.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts on this. Very enlightening, and it's something we'll obviously follow too. We've got a interest in how this all turns out for sure, given the incarceration rates of Indigenous people in this country. Thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you very much.